Hi, I'm Leah Greenland. I'm going to show you how I set up my chick nursery. I've had a chick hatch. It's approximately 24 hours old now. I always leave them in the incubator that long so that I know that they've fluffed up. And if you think that's a bit like, you know, cruel or whatever to leave them that long, they literally ship day-old chicks around the world from hatcheries. They don't need any food for that first 48 hours because they're still absorbing the egg sac, the yolk basically that still feeds them. So let's get the little guy, well actually let's set this up. So the first thing I do, I've cleaned this out, I've disinfected it, I put newspaper in the bottom. So I know a lot of you are going to come at me for putting newspaper in because it can be a little bit slippy for their little feet with the risk of splayed leg. I hear you, but I found that it's the best thing that works for me. When I put sawdust in, I find they just flick it around all over the place, and then I'll show you the drinking bowl afterwards. Like it just gets flicked into their water, so then they don't have any water. So like every half hour, you're having to like tip it out and put fresh in again. And I've got too many PRs and too many things to do without like starting the chicks water every half hour. So if you've got another solution, let me know. Obviously you can't use anything like cat lip because they're going to eat it and then it expands in their tummy and they're literally going to die. For now, newspaper isn't amazing, but it does work. The next thing I'm going to put in is a little water thing. This is literally a lid off a jar. It isn't so deep that it can fall in it or anything. It's quite wide, so it's not going to tip it over. When they get a little bit older, this is just like a little pot. I will start using this one, but if I put that in now, it risks actually falling in it and drowning. You know, they like to try and die really, so try minimizing all of these things, either from dehydration because they've put all the sawdust in their drinking thing, or from drowning because they've got too much water. So I like to use that one. They're going to need a mummy hen because obviously they don't have their real mummy with them because I hatched them in an incubator. So this thing, this contraption, is called an electric hen. So this bit, it's a hot plate, it gets nice and warm. All of these yellow legs I can alter the height of. So you can see, oops, a daisy, they can be really tall or really small. So depending on, you know, what size chick comes out, whether I'm using it, say, for like, you know, quails or turkeys, you know, it can be adjusted as they grow. So that's going to go in the other end. You can see I've got it at an angle. That way it can go to like the really, really small bit, or it can go to a bigger bit if it's like a bit too hot. It's got options that way. And then, actually, let's fill this water up. The last thing it needs, obviously, is a little bit of food. So for the minute, while it's still so small, I'm just using like a jar lid. This is a plastic one, something like a Nutella jar, or, you know, similar kind of size lid. I'm going to put the food in there rather than directly on the newspaper. It will flick it everywhere, they will scratch the newspaper up, and then obviously you will have to clean them out, but it's a starting point. And as they get bigger, obviously I can put more of a deeper plate in. But chickens by nature, they scratch, you know, they scratch in the dirt outside, they'll stand in this and scratch and flick it everywhere. So in a way it's a bit pointless having a food bowl, but there we go. Teeny tiny birds, you need to use chick crumbs. I'm using smallholder feed baby chick crumbs because it is the only chick crumb that my local country shop, store, whatever you call it, actually sells. It's basically like adult chicken food but ground up into really tiny sort of, so it looks, well, it's bigger than sand, but there we go. And that's going to go in there. Right, let's get our little guy out. So is my incubator. Unfortunately, this one is the only one from this batch to hatch. We've had the really hot weather and the heat wave, and although I do love this incubator, oh, he's running around the other side. You can't adjust the temperature, so once you set the temperature to 38 degrees, it's gonna just pump out that amount of heat, whether it actually is 38 degrees or not in there. So obviously on the hotter days, I probably haven't quite managed to adjust it enough. But still, this little one's here, it looks really cute. Oh, so look, little teeny tiny one. It's got a bit of eyeliner, possibly a girl then. It's not a pure breed. It doesn't have the stripe right down its back, which would indicate girl, so we'll just have to wait and see. So there we go, very gently. Oh, it's just sat on my hand. There we go. See if it'll peck. There we go, he's eating. So I'm going to get the lid on this. It's just like a normal storage box. I've just got a normal lid. I don't have any holes drilled in it. I just tend to put it on at an angle. There's no way at this age that it can fly or flap out. I'm only going to leave it in, you know, maybe like a week to 10 days before I move it up to the next cage. I will put maybe like a book or something on it just to make sure that, you know, none of the Pierres go in or the cats or anything like that. And that's it.